Hi folks, Gavin here from Player TV, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the latest laptop from MSI Notebooks. This is the GT72VR 7RE, which features Intel's new Kaby Lake i7-7700HQ processor. With a big emphasis on VR, virtual reality, and performance, is this the gaming notebook for you with NVIDIA's fully fledged GTX 1070 graphics card? Let's find out now in our video review. So the MSI GT72VR gaming notebook, which features obviously the GTX 1070 8GB with GDDR5 memory graphics card. It also has the new Intel 7th generation i7 Kaby Lake 7700HQ processor. It also features 16GB of SODIMM DDR4 which it runs at 2400 MHz, so obviously it's fast memory for your notebook. Obviously you can see the full specifications here, but obviously I have to go through it routine. It has a super speed M.2 SSD with Windows 10 Home on it, 64-bit. That is a 256GB M.2 NVMe super speed, turbo, obviously M.2 SSD. I don't know how many times I can say SSD. It has a 1TB storage hard drive as well for all your games as well. So I recommend you put in all your regularly used programs that you want up super speed, video editing maybe, like the Sony Vegas, etc. on your SSD, and all your games on your 1TB. You can obviously upgrade these, but so obviously with this particular notebook, the main emphasis is on obviously VR. It does have a lot of features going for it. It is a very, very, very snazzy gaming notebook, and what this particular the GT72VR, it's virtually what I would class as a desktop replacement, obviously with the quad-core, 4-core 8-thread i7-7700HQ processor, your GTX 1070 8GB GDDR5 graphics card, and that's obviously not a mobile card, that's fully fledged as well, so in terms of gaming performance this should absolutely fly. The retail, or should I say the RRP, the recommended retail price is £2,100. I expect this to be around, depending on the retailer, between £1,900 and £2,100. So if you can find it for £1,900, snap it up. The specs are absolutely fantastic, and it does obviously replace the Skylake version with the i7-6700HQ processor. So taking a look at it itself, there's plenty of ports on it, plenty of room for expansion. So you've got your four USB 3 ports on the left hand side, as well as 4 3.5mm jacks for like your headphone and your microphone, and obviously external audio. On the other side you have 2 USB 3 ports as well, so you've got 6 USB 3.0 ports. Plenty of obviously upgradability. In terms of the components inside, you can upgrade the memory. It does have 2x8GB 2400 MHz DIMMs installed. You can obviously upgrade this at your whim. On the back, it has a super speed USB 3.1 port. It also has Type A and Type C as well. So obviously the latest USB 3.1 devices are supported. It has a HDMI for your virtual reality headset, like the HTC Vive, the Oculus Rift, etc. It has an RJ45 Ethernet port, but it obviously does have built-in wireless as well. In terms of the front of it, the keyboard itself is fully RGB. This can be controlled through the SteelSeries Engine 3 software. You've also got the included and then pre-installed on it, you have the MSI Dragon Center. Now the MSI Dragon Center suite has software such as, it has SteelSeries, it's kind of like the app manager, SteelSeries Engine 3, MSI TrueColor, you have Nihamic 2 which controls your audio settings, you've got TrueColor as well, which I've just mentioned, which controls different settings for the screen itself, so different color profiles, different contrasts, etc., depending on the type of program or application you're running. It has LED Wizard, which you can use to control the keyboard, the RGB functions on the keyboard. You've got a system monitor, so you can check all the components, the vital information such as temps, you know, fan speed, CPU speed, etc, etc. You've also got a system tuner as well, so you can obviously tune your system and optimize it for high performance and flick between the different modes like so sport, comfort. You've also got like so full fan as well, so you can have it full blast. You've got full VR optimization as well. You've got like so X Boost for improved storage performance. You can flick that on and off through the Dragon Center software, and like so super speed USB, so the boost on the USB ports as well. And obviously, you know, you can connect your smartphone to this device, well, to the notebook itself, and control that through your through the Dragon app on your phone. But yeah, as you can see, it's a very, very nice specimen of a notebook. As I mentioned, the components as well are, you know, fully high performance. There's nothing been scrimped in this particular notebook, and the GT72VR 7RE Dominator Pro is, you know, what I would expect in a desktop replacement. Price-wise, obviously, it's very, very, very reasonable on the pricing, £2,099. Obviously, I expect that to come probably between maybe £2,000, depending on the retailer, as I mentioned. A couple of notable features as well on the front. You've got some buttons. Now, what these buttons are, they're actually like hotkeys, so you can press them and different things will happen on the screen. So you've got the likes of, you can turn your monitor off, you can turn the screen off. The screen itself is 1080p. It's a 17.3 inch anti-glare screen. It's also 120 Hz as well. So for those that demand high performance, you know, gaming, you want seamless looking graphics, the 120 Hz screen will help with this. And obviously with the GTX 1070, virtually all games, you know, decent settings are going to run at 120 Hz. So obviously let's turn this back on. There we go, it's back on. Other buttons include, you can, let's see what this does. This is the Cooler Boost 4. So what this does, it ramps up the fans to full speed, as you can probably hear. It sounds like a jet engine. Let's turn that off. You've also got a button that brings up XSplit. You do get an XSplit license included with this. XSplit will load up on the screen. So, you know, with a click of a button, you don't need to go through your taskbar and all the searches. You can click the button and it'll come straight up. You've also got SteelSeries Engine as well. So you can press that button and you can customize it how you want in terms of key bindings as well. What this particular button at the bottom does is it will change the profiles on the LEDs. So you have different presets and it will cycle through them. So obviously it is a good looking notebook. It's very stylish. It's indeed very powerful. But let's see how it performs in our benchmarks, and obviously we'll take it from there. So yeah, as you can see, it performs very, very well in terms of synthetic benchmarks. You know, the CPU is fantastic. So if you like to do video editing, encoding, you know, video alterations, photography as well, with likes of After Effects, Adobe Suite as well, with likes of Photoshop, this is the perfect companion. Obviously, it's more focused towards gaming. MSI do workstation notebooks as well. Check them out on the MSI website. But this, obviously, the emphasis on gaming, and obviously with it having a 17.3 inch 1080p 120 Hz screen, that's the main emphasis right here. And obviously running the benchmarks, the games likes of the Division at max settings, at high settings, it doesn't hit 120 Hz, it doesn't hit 120 FPS, so you're not really making the most of that 120 Hz, you know, flicker refresh rate as well. So I'm nitpicking now because that is quite negative for me. I would expect, you know, the GTX 1070 and the i7 to absolutely blitz through the games. And obviously, if you're playing at medium settings And I'm only talking about the new AAA titles here. Everything else, you know, like CSGO, League of Legends, Dota, you know, games that are not at the top end of the performance spectrum in terms of how demanding they are on the graphics chip, they will run at 120 Hz and plus all day long. One thing I will say is it's not a big deal, you know, it still looks absolutely fantastic. The gameplay is still seamless, it's still well above 60 frames a second, so you're not really going to notice that. It's just games like FIFA, which will run at 120 Hz by the way, will look better. So performance wise, it does perform brilliantly, there's no denying that. It's just I'd like to see a little bit more performance. It's nothing to do with MSI, it's just the components and the games that I've tested. Obviously, if you want to play Division at 120 frames per second plus, you'll need to dial them down to the medium settings, and it'll still look good, you know what I mean? In terms of features, you know, the MSI Dragon Center software is an absolutely amazing loaded feature-packed software application. It comes with everything that you need. The RGB keyboard actually does feel really nice, and obviously you've got SteelSeries and MSI to thank for that as well. You know, typing on it is very nice. The keys are they've got like a soft feel. It's not tactile, it's not mechanical, but obviously if you want mechanical, the MSI do a range, and you're talking upwards of £3,000 for those. So, you know, in terms of, you know, weight and how it is quite a big laptop, big notebook should I say. Obviously it has a 17.3 inch screen, so it isn't exactly on the small side, but you do have like sort of a built-in web camera as well, a 1080p web camera, so you can obviously Skype or, you know, video call, video conference, so you could take it to work, use it as a work laptop. I don't think anyone would appreciate someone blasting out the games on a GTX 1070 i7 Kaby Lake CPU clad notebook at work, but you know, each to their own, whatever floats your boat. Obviously, battery life is a major concern as well, but obviously the components inside, you know, it's kind of a desktop replacement in terms of gaming. The battery life, without it being plugged in, is going to run out relatively quickly anyway. There isn't a gaming notebook on this planet that will last for hours without it being plugged in when it's running at full pelt. So bear that in mind when purchasing. The speakers themselves absolutely sound brilliant. Obviously, when I tested them at 50%, thanks to the Dynamic software, it was brilliant. But when I tested it at 50%, sounds absolutely fantastic for a laptop, notebook, whatever. It sounds great. You dial it past that and you dial it maybe 75%, it still sounds good, but you do get a little bit of distortion. 100% volume, the distortion's kind of just all over the place. You can still obviously listen to the music at full pelt, but as I mentioned, any speakers at full pelt, you know, you're gonna get distortion, and you don't want that anyway. So, summarising the MSI GT72VR 7RE Dominator Pro, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a Dominator, and it's absolutely pro. I'd like to award the Dominator Pro, the GT72VR Dominator Pro, our Gold Award. You know, price-wise, it's spot on. MSI notebooks are one of the best value gaming notebook brands on the planet. And I absolutely think MSI have done a great job in bringing gaming notebooks to the market. They've pushed the limits of other companies like Razer, Asus, Gigabyte to their absolute limits. And MSI is the #1 gaming notebook brand in the world. So that's obviously got count for something. You know, it does look absolutely fantastic. The only thing I would love to have given it the design award, because it does look absolutely brilliant. As you can see, it looks absolutely phenomenal. But that 120 Hz screen just let it down slightly with AAA titles not hitting 120 frames a second. So ignoring that bit, which isn't majorly important, MSI have got a winner here with the GT72VR Dominator Pro. And if you're in the market for a new gaming notebook, you want Intel's latest 7th generation core i7-7700HQ processor, you want a fully fledged GTX 1070 with 8GB of GDDR5 memory, and you want 16GB of RAM and an absolute amazingly fast NVMe 256GB SSD, then the GT72VR Dominator Pro is the one that you want. And the only place you're going to get that from is from the guys at MSI. So yeah, I'd like to thank MSI Notebooks for sending the obviously I'm going to have to say it again, the GT72 7RE Dominator Pro in for review. Obviously, please hit the subscribe button, please leave a like, please leave a comment. It's just the kind of thing you would buy. Would you ever consider changing your PC for a gaming notebook, having it replace it? Because obviously you can take this to LANs, you don't have big bulk to go, put it in a nice bag. MSI do bags as well. Put it in a nice bag, you know, away you go, take it to your nan's house and play CSGO with your mates. Just be careful not to kill her or whatever with your shouting and screaming. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check us out in our next video, and ciao for now.